Okay, so our last topic for the year is to talk about the nomenclature for the family of organic compounds called the alkenes. And alkene, that ene ending, refers to having a double bond between the carbons somewhere in that structure. So that family of compounds is defined by having a double bond. So when we're going to name these just almost exactly like we did alkanes, just add a little bit new to deal with the double bond. And so the first thing is that whenever we find our longest continuous main chain of carbons, it has to have the double bond. So there may be a longer chain, but the double bond isn't included. It wouldn't count as the main chain. The main chain has to have the double bond. We're going to start numbering that chain when we decide where we're going to put branches, etc., closest to the double bond. So the double bond takes precedence over some branch that might end up with a higher number, but the double bond is where we're going to put the lowest number. And then we're going to, of course, use this ene ending is how we're going to do that. So let's look at the three examples of applying these rules. So the first one here, is something that looks like that. So let's first off, look, here's the double bond. Let's just make that real distinct right there. So there's our double bond. That makes it an alkene, so the ene ending. Now let's look for the longest chain that includes that double bond. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 going that way. We could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it doesn't have the double bond. The double bond has to be within it. Yeah, it touches it, but it's not within it. I could go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the same as going 4. I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, but that would give me a complex branch, like a branch that branches. So I'm going to say that the main chain is that right there. Okay. So, and it's 4 carbons long, which means that it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's methyl, ethyl, propyl, butyl. It's a bute. It's a butene, we would say, because it's 4 long. So we're going to have something butene. So instead of A and E, we're going to have that E and E ending. This is a 4 carbon long alkene. Now we need to start numbering. And we're going to number from this side because it's the end where the double bond is on a lower number. So it would be numbered 1, 2, 3, and the 4th carbon, okay? The double bond is off the first carbon. It's between the first and the second, but I always consider it's off the lowest number carbon. So it's just going to be a 1-butene. So that number that appears right before the butene tells me where that double bond is at. But we have some branches in front of that. One of the branches is an ethyl group, and the other is a methyl group. And so, just like before, I'm going to list those. This ethyl group is, because it's ethyl, because it's 2 carbons long, is off the second carbon. It's going to go first alphabetically, so it's going to be 2-ethyl dash. Here's the methyl group. It's off the 3rd carbon, so 3-methyl 1-butene. So I've got the branches. I've got the indicate where the double bond is. This molecule has been named, and so this number here is going to tell me where that double bond is. Okay. Let's look at a couple other examples. 2 more. Okay, so let's say we've got that molecule right there. Here are our double bonds. Let's emphasize those. We've got 2 of them, and we'll talk about what to do when we have 2 of the double bonds. The first thing, the main chain. I think it's pretty straightforward. It's going to have to include the double bonds. It's going to be this right here. So let's box that in. That's the main group. Let's see how many carbons long. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbons long. So 5 carbons means that we're into the pentene. So pent. But we've got that double bond. So I'm going to write pentene over here. But I might modify that just because I've got two double bonds. Let's number those carbons so we can figure out where the double bonds are. And I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That puts the double bond off of 1 and 3. Or I could go here 1, 2, 3, 4. That puts the double bond on 2 and 4. I'm going to start over there because I want my double bonds at the lowest number. So this is going to be carbon number 1, carbon number 2, carbon number 3, carbon number 4, and carbon number 5. So my double bonds are on 1, off of 1, because they're between this one and the third one here, because remember, I know it's between 1 and 2, but I number off the lowest number it comes from. So that's a double bond off the first carbon, and then I got another double bond off the third carbon. So it's going to be like this. It's going to be 1, 3, pent, but I've got 2 double bonds, so there's a way to indicate that. So I'm going to put pentadiene. So I'm going to change, I'm going to write that a little clearer. So it's going to be 1, 3, pentadiene. Okay. This, I think, is a little redundant, but that's how they do it. Di for 2. If we had 3 separate double bonds, it would be a triene. So that's how they do that. I think it's a little redundant, but because when you've got these 2 numbers here, you kind of know that, oh yeah, there were 2 double bonds, but that's how the IUPAC, International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry, decided to do it. Now we just need to indicate we have 1 branch, it's off the 4th carbon, so this would be 4-methyl, because it's a single carbon branch, dash 1,3-pentadiene. Okay, I think that takes care of it. I've got another example, but I think you probably get the idea here. All right, so those are how you do double bonds.